So our first presenter after the break is Charles-Antoine Janssen from HealthQuad.
Hello, everyone. I'm here to talk to you about the Ganga River, about India. Healthcare needs on the globe are gigantic. 4 billion people don't have access to modern healthcare. Out of these 4 billion people, 600 million live in India. 100 million people a year are pushed into poverty due to healthcare expenses, out of which 55 million live in India. Were we to add linearly beds, nurses, and doctors in order to bridge the healthcare needs of those 600 million people in India, it would cost $250 billion. A saving of more than 90 billion is possible if health tech is leveraged. And there are 9,000 health tech companies that have created a digital health revolution in India over the last decade. Today, there are 400 million digital health users in India, 800,000 teleconsults a day. That revolution has already happened in history. Serum Institute has provided more than 1 billion vaccine doses for low-income countries during the COVID pandemic. 50 years ago, Cipla and Dr. Reddy's have pioneered low-cost pharmaceuticals. Since 10 years, it's a health tech revolution that's going to make healthcare affordable to the 4 billion in need on the planet. HealthQuad 1 has invested 32 million in 7 companies of the kind, and that has generated a 34% Euro IRR. HealthQuad 2 has invested 140 million in 11 companies of the kind, and that has generated a 32% IRR. We were backed by some of the largest companies such as Johnson & Johnson, such as BII, Swedfund, TIA CREF. Fund 3, which will be launched in the second half of this year, will have the same strategy, investing 7 to 20 million in each of these health tech pioneers, and by that, making preventive healthcare a reality, making AI monitoring in remote areas a reality, making community care through e-pharmacies and diagnostics such as Redcliffe and Medica Bazaar have done a reality, making primary care that was never affordable a reality through telemedicine and digital therapeutics, making secondary care more affordable and of better quality. The impact that we have generated in Fund 2 is significant. More than 100 million low-income patients have had access to quality care this year thanks to our portfolio companies. We've improved accessibility in 250,000 villages thanks to GoActive. More than 3 million patients have seen their quality diagnostics costs reduced by 25%. CureAI has offered TB screening, lung cancer screening for 1.3 million people. And I could go on.
Thank you very much. First question, please. Oh?
Please finish, because you were cut. So.
Thank you very much. Yes, I wanted to talk about those who have benefited from AI applied to mental health in the form of a chatbot that has prevented more than 274 suicides and has allowed 4.5 million users to have access to care, while normally there would be a taboo preventing them to talk about care, preventing them to have access to any form of therapy. So technology applied to healthcare with a mindset of affordability, of affordable care, is a reality that's taking place, and it's going to make care for the 4 billion in need a reality. We need more capital, and we need to help these companies continue their growth, and it will be rewarding for our investors, such as it has been in Fund 1 and Fund 2.
Merci, Charles-Antoine. We have time for one question.
I actually have one. Thanks, Charles-Antoine. I'm Christina from the GSG. I would like to know exactly what you mentioned about growth. Can you tell us a little bit more about this challenge of scale? And I mean, India is such a huge country. You know, how can you really help these companies to grow within India and also potentially elsewhere?
So on average, our portfolio companies have grown their revenues by 75% this year. The year before it was 105%, and we expect it to be 90% next year. We need companies that have a business model that is scalable and that at some point will be free cash flow generating, so that there's an engine of growth within these organizations. So we need the best entrepreneurs to run these companies, but models need to be defined and designed from the start in an affordable manner. And too often, when a problem is solved, at Stanford Medical School, each time they come up with great solutions, they cost between $10,000 and $100,000 per patient. That's not the solution. The solution needs to be designed at maximum a few hundred euros and ideally a few tens of euros. And if that's the core product, there is a willingness to pay and there is an ability to pay, even in a country where 63% of expenses are out of pocket, meaning no health insurance yet. So growth is the solution in this case. It has had a lot of negative externalities in the past, but here, maybe not.
Perfect. Merci, Charles-Antoine. No, you take it away. Yep. Yep, please take it to them. Yep. Our next speaker is Eva Abel of Oryx Impact.
Thank you, and good morning, everyone. My name is Eva, and I'm a partner at Oryx Impact, which is a finance-first impact fund of funds, investing with a gender lens across the African continent into private equity, venture capital, and private debt funds. And we've established Oryx Impact to focus on the issues of forced migration and displacement. And the root causes that we want to address with our fund are around job creation. So we've identified that people are displaced and they are forced to migrate because they lack job opportunities. And secondly, because of environmental degradation, which is linked to climate change. And hence, well, this is the challenge part of why we established the fund. And then there is the opportunity part, which we are very much excited about. And the opportunity is mostly around the demographic dividend, the technology absorption, the rise of the VC industry, a number of unicorns that we see across the continent, as well as the economic growth, which is much higher in Africa than what we see in the developed markets. And we want to invest into fund managers that, on the one hand, are well positioned to deliver high financial returns, and on the other hand, who are very much addressing our core impact objectives. And these are economic development and job creation, climate change, mitigation and adaptation, and gender equity. And the last part, gender equity, is important to us because we do realize that females tend to be disproportionately affected by climate change and lack of economic opportunities. The funds that we want to support, and we will invest into 15 to 20 fund managers, need to develop an impact strategy, and also we want them to have highest standards in terms of ESG and impact measurement and management. And many of the teams that we've encountered actually don't have the capacity to do that, and that's where we come in with a technical assistance facility. And through our funds of funds approach, we want to influence a significant number of fund managers, but not only that, also their portfolio companies, which we estimate to be at approximately 400 in size. And another way that we have already started influencing the industry is by analyzing and evaluating funds. And as we do so, we provide them with feedback. And so to date, we have talked to more than 250 impact fund managers across the continent. And as we engage with them, we provide them with feedback on many aspects, including how their team is composed, how the fund is structured, ESG and impact, and many more. And as we provide them with feedback, we invite them to incorporate it and get back to us. And some of the interesting stats that we see as we engage with these many fund managers are that almost 60% of them are 2X Challenge compliant, which leads us to believe that actually African fund managers are more gender diverse than what we see, apologies for that, with their developed markets counterparts. And another interesting thing is that 70% of the fund managers that we see are emerging teams, which we defined as first and second time teams, which means that the ecosystem is rapidly growing, it's expanding, and we very much want to be part of that growth. And we want to support, especially the emerging fund managers, on their journey. Thank you.
Do you have, yeah, go ahead.
So what makes us unique? Firstly, it is the funds of funds approach through which we are able to have a scalable impact throughout the industry. And on the other hand, it's our team composition. So we are very much experienced in fund of funds investing, venture capital, private equity, renewable energy investing, and we have built ESG and impact frameworks for funds previously.
Perfect. It's not just me. They're cutting you off on the AV as well, cutting off your slides as well. Okay, do we have a question, please?
Okay, go ahead. Thank you for your presentation. I'm impressed because I work in myself for a fund of funds, so I'm very interested in your work. Are you planning to measure the impact of your vehicle, of your fund of fund vehicle, and how you are going to do so? Because it's not easy.
Yes, absolutely. So we want to basically track the reporting both on our level, so fund of funds level, at the fund manager level, and portfolio company level. So it will be a bit complex, and we are currently developing a software solution that will help us track that. So at the end of the day, we can say, with certainty, what are the basically impact goals that we have achieved based on mostly IRIS indicators, the 2X Challenge indicators, and a couple of more frameworks that we are using when we develop our strategy. Yeah.
Okay. Sure.
Quick question?
Perfect.
Thank you. Congrats. Funds of funds is an amazing way to mobilize catalytic capital, blended finance, even when public capital is deployed alongside private money. What type of third-party investment capital did you manage to get on board through the previous fund and the one you're fundraising for? Thank you.
So we focus on private investors, and so far, majority of the ones we've engaged with are foundations, family offices, and high net worth individuals. And then we have a number of banks, insurance companies, and pension funds that want to invest with us. And then there's also a pool of more catalytic money that you referred to that comes from DFIs, but there, usually it's not such an easy fit because DFIs do also funds of funds investing, and hence, you know, there is this specific additionality that sometimes they don't really see. What we believe that we bring to the table to DFIs is what they haven't really been able to achieve throughout the past decades, which is attracting private capital to Africa.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. So if I can ask you to bring the energy, no, please. If I can ask you to bring the energy back a little bit for our next presenters. I feel it dropping a little bit here. His name is Dan Fishman from Regeneration VC.
Hello. My name is Dan Fishman. I'm with Regeneration.vc. I'm one of the general partners. What do we do at Regeneration? We try to work this thing. Our mission is to realize outsized economic and environmental potential within consumer industries by supercharging top climate tech founders. What does that mean? It means, there we go. We want to reimagine consumer industry to regenerate our planet. Destructive consumer industries threaten our planet. We got a problem here. Destructive consumer industries threaten our planet, and by using circular and regenerative solutions, we can shift the paradigm. We live in a take, make, waste world right now. 100 billion tons of virgin materials are extracted from the earth every year. 70% of global GHG emissions stem from conventional material production and consumption, and 93% of materials produced end up in landfills. What do? We move to a circular economy. We reimagine these industries, and that can help us shift the paradigm and solve this problem. 45% of GHG emissions can be abated or avoided, 10 trillion in new business opportunities. So where do we invest? We are early stage consumer climate tech investors. We invest into three verticals. We invest in design, the inputs, packaging, textiles, dyes, ag tech, and aquaculture. We invest into use. We want to look at brands that are using circular economy IP as a competitive moat, and we want to invest into reuse, keeping things out of the landfill, re-commerce, reverse logistics. Consumer, corporate, and regulatory tailwinds have made our thesis a more investable, into a more investable world. On the consumer side, 93% of Gen Z believes addressing climate change is critical for our future. Corporates and municipalities are all making claims. They're net zero for circularity, reuse. They don't know how to get to these claims, but they're making claims. And then, of course, policy and regulation. The EU Circular Economy Act, the Inflation Reduction Act, and so on. The team. At Regeneration, there are two general partners, myself and my partner Michael. We both come from an entrepreneurial background. I come from apparel, lifestyle, and food, both operating, investing, and selling companies. My partner Michael comes from a media and real estate background, as well as running an environmental family office. We've built our team around our thesis. We have on one side we have the financial side, on the other side we have the impact side. Both of those are just as important in our diligence process and give us an added layer before making an investment. our advisory board. Again, we've built this advisory board around the verticals that we invest into. On the design side, we have advisors that are in polymer science, that are in government, that are in synthetic biology. On the use side, we have deep connectivity into the entertainment world through our strategic advisor, Leonardo DiCaprio, and through other founders and corporate board members. And then on reuse, Bill McDonough is one of our strategic advisors on the reuse side, as well as recycling experts, government experts, and so on. Thank you very much, and I'll take some questions. This doesn't work.
Yeah. Can we please give him a huge round of applause? That was like, I'm sorry. Yeah, it's hard enough. It's hard enough as it is.
We did it.
Can we have some, who would like to ask a question?
It's still going.
Yep.
So thanks a lot for doing such a good job with difficult slides. Really well done. If you look at the companies that you're backing, what is the number one thing they would need in order to scale? Is that linking them to the big corporates?
What is the number one? Say it again.
What's the number one things they need in order to scale their solutions?
I mean, depending on what type of company it is, but if you're looking at it from a packaging point of view, obviously it's about getting close to price parity and making it so that it works on existing machinery. If you're looking at textiles, it's scalability, again, price parity. Same thing with dyes. If you're looking at it on the reuse approach, we have recycling technologies. Again, we like to bring on corporates and offtake partners that can help us work within what we're doing with these businesses, and therefore we can help them track to where they need to go to get to.
One more question? Anybody? No? Okay. Thank you, Dan. Cheers. Take that now. Our next presenter is Cyril Langendorf of Phitrust Partenaires. Everyone? With a good clicker?
Thank you. Bonjour.
Bonjour.
Phitrust is a pioneer impact investment fund manager here in France. For more than 20 years, Phitrust has been challenging and engaging big listed corporates, French corporates, on ESG issues. For more than 15 years, Phitrust has been investing and supporting social entrepreneurs both in France and in Europe. Social entrepreneurs address social and environmental issues like inclusion of marginalized people, social housing, or education. Phitrust has been investing in 45 social entrepreneurs, bringing not only equity capital or quasi-equity, but also mentoring and coaching, as well as help to measure and reporting impact. Two examples of entrepreneurs that Phitrust has supported. Lavarap is an association in the south of France that was created 30 years ago, developing work inclusion programs. Lavarap, when Phitrust invested in 2008, had 2.5 million euro revenues. Today, the company reached 100 million euro revenues thanks to organic growth and commercial entities. It managed to put more than 100,000 people back into the workforce. Permicro is the #1 microfinance private operator in Italy. It helps families and entrepreneurs that don't have access to banking and financial services get these services. People served are mostly legal immigrants, and as you see on the slide, in 2022, Permicro served 2,700 people, 85% of them legal immigrants that would not integrate socially, economically in Italy without Permicro. The European landscape is more favorable to European entrepreneurs. In 2021, Eurostat reported that 1 out of 5 people were at risk of poverty or social exclusion. The EU Commission in 2021 realized that and address that issue by introducing a 2.8 billion euro facility for social investment and skills into the new program, Invest EU, the 6-year program. We, as Phitrust, are launching a new fund in order to contribute to continue to follow our entrepreneurs, social entrepreneurs. We are launching a 50 million equity fund with the help of the European Investment Fund. This fund will help social entrepreneurs change their model, scale up, grow their model. The European Investment Fund is committing 20 million euro out of 50 million euro. This is very good news. This is the second time we have the EIF with us. The first collaboration was in 2016. So if you have social impact at the heart of your investments, join us. Social entrepreneurs, they cannot wait. Thank you.
Merci. Questions, please.
Thank you very much for the presentation and for keeping your cool.
Yeah, with this slide that are going on, thank you.
I have a question. What's your secret sauce helping so many different types of social entrepreneurs, from associations or NGOs to actually social businesses, to deploy their impact at such a large scale? What's your secret sauce? How do you do that, very concretely?
Yeah, very, very good question. The way we do it is that when we invest, we provide not only capital, but we also put mentors besides the entrepreneurs. We know that entrepreneurs needs to be coached, needs to be accompanied, and we also try to agree on indicators before the investment, not only financial indicators, but as well as extra financial indicators and impact indicators, so that we are in full agreement for the whole period we are going to be at the side of the entrepreneur.
Okay, one more question.
Merci Cyril. Can you tell us a little bit more about the deep impact methodology that you have? Because you have been working in the impact space for a long time. Can you tell us a little bit more about what's different in this impact dimension?
We are very much social impact first fund. So that means we are going to tell our LPs that this is what we focus on, is the how we reach impact every year, social impact, with criteria that we have defined in advance. That's why EIF, the European Investment Fund, is committing with us, because he knows that we will reach the last mile of problems of social entrepreneurs that can address the poor, the marginalized population.
Perfect. Merci, Cyril. Merci. If you're all still paying attention, you saw that we have some problems with the slides. My mother always said I should join the circus, so I'm in a round stage, and the slides seem to be the thing that's acting like the circus. So hopefully we've fixed that problem, and no one else has a problem, because it's hard enough up here in the circular stage. Our next presenter, please, everyone, give a round of applause for Laura Ortiz Montemayor of Regenera Ventures Fund.
Thank you. Thank you. Can you hear me now? Yeah? Okay. How many of you have put your hands in the soil recently? Yeah. Good. Okay. So I'm Laura Ortiz. I'm a mompreneur. I'm the founder of SVX Mexico, and I'm here to present Regenera Ventures Fund. As you can see in the slide, we're partnering with USAID and Conservation International. There are blended finance supporters and investors in a partnership called Sustainable Landscape Ventures. And our director of blended finance is Marco. He's here with me, and you can see him throughout the event. We're also a B corporation, and as you can see, have been awarded twice in a row as Best for the World. As many of you know, the smallholder farmers are are the most vulnerable and the most pressured towards changing and transitioning the conventional agricultural practices to regenerative or sustainable agricultural practices. But they're also the most vulnerable to climate change, and they're the ones getting the least payment in the whole supply chain. So we know that, and we want to partner with them. And we don't want to see them as the most vulnerable. We want to see them as the most resilient because they're the most needed. And we think that this transition, investing in this transition, can make their profits go to 3 to 10x of profits. In this slide, if you can take a picture of it, I recommend it. Because this is the bars on the left, the purple bars, are the recommendations from the IPCC on the real climate solutions. They're recommending as the most important climate solution, ecosystem restoration. That's the biggest bar. But where are the climate tech dollars located? Actually, the climate finance dollars are all over-invested in tech. And they're over-invested in electromobility. So electromobility is overvalued and natural capital is undervalued. So the biggest opportunity of our generation is to invest in regenerative agriculture. As you can see, in conventional agriculture, we separated humanity from nature in a domination relationship that has commoditized landscapes, has degraded the soils, and in regenerative agriculture, we go back to nature's principles, and we really restore a relationship of interdependence with the soil, partnering with the soil. And regenerative agriculture has exploded. It's come to $8 billion of market value, and it's also now over 100 corporations are committed to investing in regenerative agriculture and tons of family offices. We're raising a $20 million fund using self-liquidating equity, which is one of our innovations for social justice. Out of the 20 million, we already have 3 soft commitments that add up to almost $12 million. And we are part of the International Climate Finance Accelerator of Luxembourg for first-time fund managers. We're an impact-first fund. And we have been, so Stevie and myself, we are co-founders in SVX Mexico. We've been together and we have a track record of over $45 million in impact investing transactions. We're also ecosystem builders in Latin America. We have trained over 2,000 investors in impact investing, climate finance, and regenerative economy. We also have Mario that has private debt experience, Toño that has the agricultural experience, and our team believes that biodiversity is everyone's only life insurance. We really want you to get your hands in the soil because it's really important, and we believe that the only thing standing between you and regeneration is a decision to be brave, to be collaborative, and to be wise about systems transformation. So thank you so much for your time.
It sounds much better when you say Regenera than when I say it, definitely.
Woo!
Okay, questions, please.
I have a question. Thank you so much, Laura. How do you convince investors that this is the right thing? There is a trend, like you said, they don't want to invest into regenerative agriculture. How do you convince them?
I think we are in a deep need for diversification. If you see financial portfolios today, the global allocation in public markets and in private markets, everyone is overinvested in tech. And so right now, the tech market is in a vulnerable stage, but it has been for a while. So we think the natural capital and the real economy is the best way to diversify your portfolio and to really don't have that correlation to the overinvested tech public markets. So we see this as an upside, we see this as a diversification opportunity, but we also see it as a lifeline for everyone. So I don't see it as an optional investment.
Laura, thank you for the very strong vision. Can you take us on the ground with you and give us 1 or 2 very short examples of the typical companies you would invest in, just to tell us your stories?
Another mompreneur is here. That is one of our pipeline companies. Is Marcela from Tierra Foods. She's investing in the harvesting of Ramon seed, which grows wild in the rainforest in Mexico. And those seeds can be turned into flour that is a carbon negative ingredient, but a nature positive ingredient. There's another mompreneur over there in the booths of the agriculture sector that is called Tierra Foods. Her name is Adriana Luna. She's actually an awardee from the Cartier Foundation. She's also in our pipeline, and she's also an advisor to the fund. And she's very experienced in the agricultural transition to agroecology and sustainable and regenerative practices. And so she's one of the ones that support the leaving the toxic agrochemicals and going into the biological inputs that are needed. Thank you.
Gracias, Laura. Okay, this is our last presenter, so again, I ask you to give a warm welcome to Roman Diaz from SAGANA.
Hello, everyone. I am Roman Diaz from SAGANA. We are a next-generation climate tech venture capital firm on a mission to invest in the future of Earth. Leveraging AI. This pointer has a bit of an issue. Leveraging AI to help restaurants to reduce food waste. This is what our portfolio company, Fullsoon, is doing. Removing, this is very challenging. Okay. Removing the cow from the production of cheese with precision fermentation. This is what our portfolio company, Fermify, is doing. Producing a sustainable protein from beer yeast with a circular model. This is what our portfolio company, Yeasty, is doing. Mazi Mobility, they are powering the future of sustainable mobility in Africa with electric motorbikes. Helping the energy sector to monitor and reduce methane leaks with satellites. This is what Orbio is doing. Accelerating the transition to electric bicycles with full stack refurbishment. This is what Lowy is doing. Extending electronics life by drastically cutting the cost of repair. This is what Rebel Tech is doing. Removing the cow from the production of leather while giving a second life to the brewer's waste streams. This is what our portfolio company, Arda Biomaterials, is doing. Last but not least, from our current portfolio is Cubic. They're turning plastic waste into low-carbon, affordable housing for Africa. We think that tackling the climate and ecological crisis is the biggest challenge, a big responsibility, and the biggest business opportunity of our generation. In Sanskrit, SAGANA means a good company. This is what we're trying to be for the world by investing in the next generation of founders who build a more regenerative, fair, and sustainable future. Our strategy. We invest in all the verticals of climate tech, from mobility, food and agriculture, energy, buildings, industry, and carbon removal, and circular economy. We invest at the pre-seed stage only. It's founders who have a little bit more than a PowerPoint, but not much more, and we see the potential in them to change the world. We invest checks from 30K to 300K, with an ability to lead or follow investments. We invest in Europe and Africa. So far, we made 9 investments, 7 of which in Europe, 2 in Africa, and 4 more to close in the next weeks. We're looking for the gems who correlate returns with impact at scale. We look for these outliers who build the world we want to live in today, tomorrow, today. The founders want us on the cap table because of the value add that we bring to them and our ethos. We give them an infinite amount of love, not an infinite amount of capital. My partner Anil and I have decades of experience building, operating, and investing in companies in Africa and Europe. About 50 investments completed to date, and this is a very short list of our wonderful LPs. We have 60 LPs so far. You'll recognize some names, although it's a bit small, but all of them are wonderful. Our achievements to date. We've sourced and analyzed more than 1,200 companies. We have 9 portfolio companies. 42% of our founders are from underrepresented minorities. We have more than 10,000 followers on social media. This one is good. 5 million of revenue generated within our portfolio since our investment less than a year ago. So far, with the markups that we've done within our portfolio, we have a MOIC, a multiple on invested capital, of 1.75 in less than a year. We have 60 plus limited partners in our first fund, with the last closing, which will be done in Q4 2023. And we have one mission, which is to help save our planet. We're on a path to build a portfolio of 30 plus companies in the next 2 years, and we invite you to join us on the journey. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Romain. If we can have questions, please.
Yes. Can you tell us a little bit more about the additionality of your fund? What's the love you're giving to the startups?
Yes. So much love. So we try to support them very operationally. I come from a venture studio background. I built one of the first venture studios in Africa. And I have been involved in the creation and co-building of many startups, so I have a very operational background. I've done previously an exit in a fintech company, so I have done a lot of things from technology to impact to marketing, go-to-market, fundraising, support, etc. We also have a broad collective of LPs, 60 LPs, many of whom are involved with our portfolio companies in anything operationally. And we also, provide that mental support that a lot of founders need, because we speak with them almost on a daily basis. On WhatsApp, I speak to them every day, and they can share their wins, but also their challenges. So we really, really support them. And we have a lot of words from them that really show that high NPS. And that's why they want us on the cap table. And that's why we have a flywheel of more deals referred to us by our founders, by our LPs, and so on. So that's that flywheel effect.
Thank you so much. I also have a question. You have 60 LPs. It's amazing, and it's a lot. How do you manage?
We manage. So we have bigger and smaller LPs. We have a very transparent approach to doing things. It's one of our key values to be transparent. So we do a lot of reporting. We involve them on deal sourcing, due diligence, portfolio support. And some of them are passive, some of them are active. But we manage, and we're very transparent, we're very honest, we have long-term thinking in everything we do, and so far it's working out.
Fantastic. Merci, Romain.
Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you, everyone. That was our last presenter of the day. So I want to finish as we started. If we could just please thank everyone for their presentations with the difficulties and their patience, and our LPs. I invite you all to join us for a networking event in the community hub. I believe there was going to be a map that shows where it is. There it is. Perfect. I clicked that. I did that. I went like that, and it came up, which is over there. So please, everyone, join us over there. Thank you very much. Cheers.